Welcome to Set and Forget Traders, where precision meets patience. This isn't guesswork, it's strategy, structure, and the smart money's roadmap. If you're tired of chasing trades, strap in. We'll show you how to trade like the banks and not against them. If the market noise has been costing you money and peace of mind, you are in the right place. Hit the subscribe button. This is where structure meets mastery. Welcome to AUD USD analysis, and where we are looking at the demand chart. All right, we are looking at the demand chart and looking at the weekly time frame. Before we continue, you can commend us on our clean work, because coming from the previous week to this week, we were the ones who could identify the most important trading area. Because how do you know the price is going to move from the previous demand zone up to the latter demand zone? Clap for us, because the traders have lost too much money with these two candles, but we protected our lot, and that's around 2100 points change in price. Guys, we deserve an accolade. All right, because let's look at the daily time frame so that you might be able to know why we really are advising you to follow our consulting programs, because our intention is to help each one of you have a very good understanding and walk out the room with your rights. So this is the demand zone. You'll be able to see after the buyers took profit on the 23rd of July. The next day, there was a reduction in volume, and it was after the buyers had made an entry into the demand zone. Once they did, the buyers took profit. If you don't know what really happened, you could have lost being present at the most important day in your managing era. So the next day, the price fell again, and then the third day of sellers, they really pushed price low. Remember, you just missed taking profit, and now the price fell again. This demand chart allows us to plan, to know where the next demand zone is. So we cannot buy until price just comes back to the previous demand zone. So the previous demand zone was at that area. All right. So you could have avoided making all these buyers. You could only have had your first buy at 0.64868, and then your next buy inside the demand zone, which has the proximal line at 0.64327 and the dasher line at 0.64187. So that's where we had hid our demand orders, and you'll be able to see. You see, this was during the interest rates of the United States, and it's so interesting to notice and understand that the bearish candle closed just above the demand zone at the proximal line 0.6427. It closed just above, and we were so keen to see how would the candle be created so far. And then it's so important to see the previous day, actually, the buyers, it was the Asian session which started. It really pushed price high. But later, at the course of the day, when the New York session started, the sellers cooled. This is how the Asian session looked like. The Australian side really pushed price high. But when the London session started exactly, you could see the banks really placing huge engulfing candles of the previous buyers order block. It seems there were big, massive buyers at this level. So price fell, and it closed inside the demand zone. So we could wait to see how the buyers are going to act, and it's out of sheer keenness. We could see them, the next candle after the sellers that made a last hit at the buyers, you could see the next candle was a bullish, and then the next candle buyers made another entry and price came closing down. This is the 1 hour time frame. And then now during the NFP, you could see price hitting their entry right from the from the dasher line or the demand zone. And then BRAV, just look at where the price closed at. Look at this candle, where it started and where it ended. And we've been having this for the longest time. Let's freeze the moment for you to see what we are meaning to say. So that's our analysis, and we discussed about this on the previous analysis just before this episode of AUD USD. Go check week 30. You could see we didn't just jump into this conclusion, but we have had this analysis for the last 5 years. We have had this analysis, and this is just a break, because this was the moment in the market that the market shook. But we're here. You can see we had a very clean eye into where the market is going to make the entry and where the justice is supposed to end at. And we had exited our trades exactly at that level. And then price dipped. Bro, clap for us. Drop a thumbs up button. So let's check the supply chart. Let's see. The daily. Yeah, that's how the daily candle looks like again. It was just a reaction. Yeah, we had a very good entry and exit on that day. Looking at the supply chart, again, remember the same as we had a previous good sell from the previous supply chart, from the previous supply level, and we are hoping to take price lower into the next supply zone. Yeah, we are very steadfast in seeing this is achieved. Yeah, price is already half of our target. Yeah, price is at half range. Yeah, if it comes up, we'll add more sales up to this level. Yeah, I'm giving you secrets. So that's it. AUDUSD is good for swing trading. So let's see the institutional moving average, if the trend has changed. Yeah, we saw last month the sellers pushing from the resistance, and now the price have already pushed up. So we expect a rejection at 0.65210. On the weekly time frame, buyers are really supporting price should go up until we see a breaker, stay vigilant. Yeah, on the daily candle, the sellers had already broken through the support. That's a good news. On the 4-hour time frame, buyers are really trying to push price back up. Quite a fight. On the institutional moving average, this is the institutional moving average, and the monthly support, resistance has already been struck. You can see the previous time the monthly resistance didn't allow the monthly candle to close above it. That's why last month we had a bearish candle. So the weekly candle has closed just exactly. On the weekly or the monthly, on the weekly, again you can see the weekly, there's a rejection from the resistance back to the support. So let's see what this week holds for us. Now lastly, let's check on the simple moving average. On the monthly time frame, price should be going below unless we see a surprise attack. Yeah, might be bullish. Yeah, but you see on the daily time frame, the price closed exactly. So I'm anticipating a sell. Yeah, the shocks has already struck. So a sell will be good for the market action, for the market alignment. A sell will be good, I presume. A sell can be good, but not really. Thank you for staying here with us, and hope you have a good week. Just remember, during NFP, we were present and we were delivered the keys into the mindset of the market makers. Believe it or not, we positioned ourselves and we walked out full of frights. Thank you. Consult us anytime you're in need. We are working 24/7, round the clock, round the globe. Thank you for being part and parcel of this community. Cheers and have yourself a good, great evening. God bless your minds.